Welcome to this week's edition of Outdoors Online, a weekly webcast produced by the North Dakota Game and Fish Department. I'm your host, Tom Jensen. Deputy Director Scott Peterson is my guest this week. We're going to talk about the upcoming legislative session and some of the bills that either have been pre-filed or may pop up during the session. Scott, first off, let's talk about the Game and Fish Department's funding mechanism. There might be some people that don't understand how we pay the bills.
And the key point there, Tom, is the fact that we do not receive any state general fund dollars. Our revenue is generated basically by two basic means, and that's by the sale of hunting and fishing licenses. And then we also receive a pretty good pot of money from federal aid, or what's commonly referred to as Wildlife and Sport Fish Restoration Act money. And the
Which
two of
is
those,
basically an excise tax on sporting goods.
it's an excise tax on sporting goods, exactly. It gets collected by the federal government and then redistributed to the states based on the amount of hunting and fishing licenses they sell, and I think land coverage. And so, but it's huge for us. It makes up a big chunk of our funding.
Although we don't use tax dollars, our budget still has to be approved by the legislature.
Right, we still present our budget to the legislature for approval and ultimately get spending authority for our budget. Yes.
We're going to start here in 3 weeks or a month, I guess, before the session starts. We have a new governor. Are you anticipating a busy session?
Well, we, at this point sitting here, Tom, we don't really have any reason to believe that it's going to be any less busy than it has been in the previous sessions. And over the years, I think it would be fair to say that we've tracked anywhere from 15 to probably over 50 or 60 bills that are just game and fish related bills. Last session was relatively quiet in terms of the number of bills, but we'll see if we can pull that off 2 years in a row.
There are always a few that jump up kind of unanticipated and things. There is one bill that we know is probably going to be brought forward. It would have an immediate impact on every sportsman and woman in North Dakota. It has come up several times before in the past. It's been a while, but that's a trespass bill or implied posting.
Right. As you mentioned, Tom, it wouldn't be the first time we've heard this, but we have heard some rumors of a version of a no trespass bill being introduced this session. And as with all of these bills, we'll track that and provide comment as appropriate.
Basically, what that means is that land would be implied posted.
Correct.
Landowners would not have to go out and post their land.
Correct. Which obviously could, depending on the details in the bill, could present some challenges for our constituents.
Any other bills, Scott, that are going to have an impact on the outdoors in North Dakota?
Well, there's one that we know is going to be introduced. At the last session, there was a directive by the legislature to have the Legislative Legal Counsel look into drafting a bill that would look at a different way of allocating special big game licenses. And particularly we're talking about the ones that are offered up as raffles, as fundraisers. And so we've been working with legal counsel up there to draft a bill which we think does a better job of allocating those licenses long term. So we know that one is going to get introduced. Likely will, there's a good chance it could get changed, tweaked a little bit, but we think that the bill as drafted does a pretty good job of addressing those long-term concerns. There's also a bill that we are going to be working on. As of April of last year, all hunting and fishing licenses are, by law, have to be sold online. In the past, when vendors and mostly, county auditors included, but all vendors were able to charge a 50 cents per license fee. Well, a lot of these vendors are being purchased now with credit cards, and that fee is actually being carried on or being assessed to the vendors themselves. And so we have vendors out there that are selling hunting and fishing licenses for us at a loss. And so we're going to look at a way to increase those license vendor fees so at least the vendors are not suffering a financial loss every time they sell a hunting and fishing license. That's another one we're going to be working on.
Sometimes bills, Scott, appear to be fairly tame when they're first introduced, and they end up having a huge impact on our state's anglers and fishermen and outdoors people. There's a way that concerned people can track these bills.
Department folks do a really good job of doing the lion's share of the work for our constituents. They can simply go onto our website. We track all game and fish related bills. We update them weekly, at a minimum of weekly. And so our constituents, if you're concerned about the status of a bill, go onto our website. And again, the system is designed for, you know, the public to provide comment. There's more that you can do than just read it on our website. You can show up for a committee meeting or a committee hearing and testify. It's very simple, and the system is designed to allow public input. So we encourage our constituents to go in there and make their voices heard.
Right, by now public input, you're talking about links to the various lawmakers' emails, phone numbers
phone
and things
calls,
like that, if they want to respond.
If they want to, and again, they, you know, those committee hearings, if there's a particular bill that piques our constituents' interests, show up at a committee hearing and make your voices heard at that point as well.
All right. This is the time of year, of course, that our staff, we have you folks that go out and testify either in favor or against a bill that may have something to do with outdoors people.
Right. Again, we track those, and we will evaluate each and every bill on its own merit, and we will provide comment or testify in support or not in support, or sometimes we remain neutral. But we will track each one individually, and we will comment as appropriate based on their own merits.
All right, Scott, thanks.
You bet.
The round of fall advisory board meetings has changed a little from the original schedule due to our winter storm. Here is a revised list of the times, dates, and destinations for the advisory board meeting in all 8 districts in North Dakota. Remember, these meetings are designed as a sounding board for individuals to speak up about outdoor issues. There is an agenda at each meeting, followed by a question and answer period. If you want to speak up, attend an advisory board meeting near you. For Scott Peterson and the rest of the staff here at North Dakota Game and Fish, thanks for joining us for Outdoors Online. We'll see you again next week.